All right, good morning. The Committee on Parole is called to order. Today's Wednesday, April 9th, 2025. It's 8:40 a.m. My name is Cheryl Renatza. I'll serve as chair of today's parole panel. My colleagues on the panel To my left is Mrs. Carolyn Stapleton. To my right is Mr. Pete Freeman. With the staff here at headquarters, please introduce yourself for the record.
JEMORIA STEWART.
All right, Mr. Stewart, is there any staff in the room? Any staff in the room there with you?
No, ma'am.
By yourself. Okay, so we are at TANGIPAHOA Parish Jail. Do you have any, would you introduce yourself once again? Tell us again your name and DOC number.
I am JEMORIA STEWART Jr., DOC 751834.
All right, Mr. Stewart, do you have any paperwork there with you?
No, ma'am.
All right, we have a piece of paper we're going to put up on the screen. It's called a Parole Revocation Questionnaire that was presented to you. I want to be sure that's your signature on the page. We're going to put it up on the screen.
Yes, ma'am. That's my signature.
That's your signature. Okay, good. So based on the information in that questionnaire and your response to those questions, you were not eligible for an appointed counsel. So you ready to proceed today without a lawyer? Or did you hire?
Ready to proceed.
Okay. So we're gonna, I'm gonna turn it over to Mrs. Stapleton. She's gonna read the allegations against you and you can enter a plea and we'll have a conversation about it.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
The statements that I'm going to read, you have the option of not guilty, then guilty, or guilty with a statement. And so I'm going to read them and you answer that. And then if it's with a statement, you explain it to me after I finish.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. All right. You failed to live at an address of record nor updated your address with your parole officer. Agents have been to the residence several times in the month of October 2024 trying to make contact with you and have been advised by family members you have not been staying at the address. Do you plead guilty, not guilty, or guilty with a statement?
I plead guilty to that one.
Okay. Right. All right. You ready? We're going to the next one. It's you were arrested by the Hammond Police Department on 10/22/24 and charged with domestic abuse, battery, and drug paraphernalia. On 2/19/2025, the charges were reduced to criminal mischief, and you were sentenced to 121 days at CFTS. Do you plead guilty, not guilty, or guilty with a statement?
I'll plead guilty to that one too with a statement.
Okay. Okay, let me put the statement. Okay. All right, and then the next one, during your booking process, you were asked if you could pass a drug screen by your parole officer. You advised you had slipped up and smoked some methamphetamines earlier in the day. Do you plead not guilty, guilty, or guilty with a statement?
I plead guilty to that one too.
Okay. And then the last one is you have failed to make any payments towards your supervision fee since being placed on parole 7/20/2023. You currently have a balance of $882 in past due fees. Guilty, not guilty, or guilty with a statement?
I say guilty on that one too because I haven't been.
Okay. All right. So you have one that you told me guilty with a statement. And it was where you had pled down to a reduced charge of criminal mischief. So you must have pled guilty to that and you were sentenced to 121 days. So what is your statement on that one?
That one right there, I was basically like with that one, my back was against the wall on that one right there because I know I had messed up. I know I had messed up big time. And I have to own up to my responsibilities as a young man and take responsibilities and take actions and accountable for my actions for that even happened in the first place. And
Yes.
if that one had happened, I wouldn't be right here in front of y'all talking to y'all. I'll be at the house. So I am greatly and deeply sorry for doing it.
Doing what? I mean, because
Catching,
you were charged originally with domestic abuse, battery, and drug
yeah,
paraphernalia. What are you sorry for?
catching the domestic charge.
Yeah, so you actually did hit her because there were witnesses.
Actually, no, I didn't hit her. That's the thing. I didn't hit her. It was just a verbal, a verbal argument. It wasn't even physical.
Okay, so you just went ahead though and pled down to the
Yeah, I
criminal
just went
mischief.
ahead and played down the criminal mischief.
All right, I don't have any further questions.
I got some questions.
Mr.
Okay. Okay, so you're saying you didn't hit her, so her saying you slapped on either side of her face, and even Reed told us that in a written statement. That's not true?
I didn't hit her. This on everything. I didn't hit her. It was just a verbal argument.
What
It was
about
a
the two?
bad verbal argument.
You had two witnesses at an automotive shop that said you hit her. That's why they called the cops.
The automotive shop was at least 100 yards away from us. At least 100 yards. So there's no way the witnesses so-called seen me hit her without any video footage cameras to even blow it up. And there's no video footage. There was no evidence on the girl. There was no bruises on the girl. There was nothing on her. The police ain't even take pictures of the girl. There was no markings on her whatsoever. Not
Okay.
one.
I have no further questions.
I don't have any questions. Mr. Stewart, I think we're prepared to vote. Mrs. Stapleton will be voting first.
Yes, sir. Today, based upon your guilty pleas on 3, 4, 4B, and 10, I'm gonna revoke your parole.
Mr. Freeman,
I find that he violated conditions 3, 4, and 10. And I vote to revoke.
and I concur with my colleagues. My vote today is also good luck to you, sir. We're going to sign off at 8:48.
No, it wasn't tangible.
No.
Good morning. The Committee on Parole is reconvening. It's 9 a.m. Today is April 9th, 2025. Our remote location this morning is now at BOSSIER Medium Security Facility with the staff there at BOSSIER. Please introduce yourself for the record.
Yes, ma'am. Deputy Edwards, Classification Officer here.
Jessica for Steve Boyle.
All right, thank you. Thank you for accommodating us this morning. We have Mr. ALMS. Mr. ALMS, would you introduce yourself, sir? Please tell us your name and DOC number.
Yes, ma'am. Steve Leonard ALMS, DOC number 600141. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. Mr. ALMS, you're classified as a 6th felony offender. You are currently serving a 5-year sentence out of Jefferson Parish as a habitual offender for simple burglary, 1 count. Your parole eligibility date passed in May of 2023. You have an adjusted good time date of February 12th, 2026. Is that information correct, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
So, Mr. ALMS, tell us about yourself. We want to know why you're in jail. Why are you a 6th offender? And what have you done since you've been in jail this time that you would be a good candidate for parole?
Yes, ma'am. I'm a nervous speaker, so I wrote something, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. So, first of all, I would like to thank all of you for being here for me today. Secondly, I'd like to apologize to you as my community for my atrocious behaviors that led me here. I really don't have clear memories of the crime that I committed, as I was in a complete state of psychosis. It's no excuse, I know, but it's just how my behavior was back then. I didn't care about anyone or anything, including myself. I definitely did deserve to come to prison. This may sound strange, but I've become grateful that I came here. Well, grateful what has happened to me since I've been incarcerated. I've been fortunate to only transfer to 2 facilities, Franklin Parish, where I was a Class A off-compound trustee for 2 years, as well as participating in the first graduating class of the new STEP program. I also facilitated an AA meeting for a short time. Franklin Parish taught me responsibility, accountability, positive work ethics, and how to budget and control finances, as well as building a resume. I learned to be proud of myself for the work I did, as well as valuable social skills. Basically, I learned how to be a man there. Then I was transferred here to BOSSIER Parish, where I entered the Steve Boyle program, where I learned about myself, core issues that cause my acting out behaviors. I learned forgiveness, how to think positively, and to set achievable goals for myself, and most importantly, that I have value. I can negative thoughts and feelings that lead to relapse and negative behaviors, and have coping skills to deal with them before they materialize into those behaviors. I have a plan for my release. I have goals and dreams, both things that I've never had before. If I'm allowed to return to society, I will be returning to a place that offers strong support systems, as well as rules and consequences. I have a home group for my AA meetings, and my old sponsor has agreed to sponsor me until I can find a permanent one. I will be seeking employment and standing on my own feet. I have a terminal mother and disabled daughter that I'd like to be back in their lives as a positive member of the community, to make them proud and make myself proud. I feel I can accomplish these things as I have taken full advantage of all that is available to me during my incarceration. I have also applied for the Vivitrol shot just as an added layer of protection, because it's just one more thing. I've learned that I wasn't just hurting myself in the past like I originally thought, but I caused heartache and pain to everyone that I came in contact with, and the entire community. I have not only the willingness, but also the ability to succeed and become an asset to my community. I know that drugs have ruined my life and caused pain to everyone around me, but for the first time in my life, I'm excited to join the community, whereas my previous times, I've only ran straight back to the underworld. I am convinced in my heart that I can continue these changes. I have not only the ability and willingness, but also a whole new state of mind, as well as a plan of action to implement. I also know that going back even a little bit will surely lead me to death, and I don't want to die. I know how aggressive and progressive addiction is. I realize that my track record isn't very impressive, but I have the tools, and more importantly, the desire to stay sober. I've learned that I love being sober. I've learned that I love the benefits of recovery, and I want to live the rest of my life to the best of my ability. There are many achievements that I'm going to experience with my new mindset. So in closing, I'll say that moving forward, staying sober is more important to me than anything else in my life, because I know that everything else in my life depends on it. Thank you. And as far as my past, you know, it goes all the way back to the 90s. About every 5 to 10 years or so, I would get strung out on drugs and, you know, do some things, some irrational behaviors that would lead me back to jail. I'll be honest, I never really wanted to be sober. I did the drug court program and I learned about sobriety, but I still hadn't had enough. I stayed sober for a few years after drug court, but then I ended up relapsing, and then I was arrested again, and I got out after a few months of the arrest, and I managed to get myself sober, and that's when I feel like I just sick and tired. I don't know, something clicked. I'm getting older, you know, I can't do this much longer. I don't have much longer to try to make a life for myself and my daughter, and I just feel like things are finally different. I feel like, you know, I quit hoping for a better past, as I used to use my past as an excuse. Well, I have all this record, you know, I have all these things that happened as a child, so I can't move forward. But I've come to terms with that, and it's not going to hinder me anymore. I can move forward, you know, positively.
All right. Well, you've given it a lot of thought, haven't you?
Yes, ma'am.
It's here, you have the, from the Steve Hall program. Is she in the room with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So Mr. ALMS has done exceptionally well while here. He has had 25 positive behavior reports from counselors for his participation in group. He's volunteered to help other offenders with their treatment materials. He has requested extra material that applies more to him than what would be required for him to complete Steve Hoyle. I've asked the counselors individually what their thoughts are for him, and more than one person said that he was a model student. I mean, separately, they have nothing but praise about Mr. ALMS and his time here. So he's done really well here.
Ma'am, how long was the program he was involved in?
He was in a 9-month program.
That's what I thought. Thank you.
Yes.
All right, thank you. And we'd like to hear from the Director of Client Services for 72, Ms. Mia.
Good morning. I'd like to thank the Parole Board for giving me the opportunity to speak today in support of Mr. Steve ALMS. As you said, my name is Mia Lowy. I'm the Director of Client Services at the First 72 Plus. We're a reentry organization based in New Orleans, and we work to stop the cycle of incarceration by providing adequate support to those returning home from prison. We've been in operation for 10 years. In the 10 years we've been in operation, we've had less than a 10% recidivism rate among clients. That's because we provide adequate support in terms of mental health, substance use, case management, peer support, other things like that. I'll go into detail. I've been working with Mr. ALMS for the past month to develop a pretty solid reentry plan because he clearly really wants it. He's been super engaging with me. He was interviewed by my team and was accepted into our transitional housing program. So this is a 90-day program, provides him transitional housing for free. So we don't charge any rent, no utilities, but there are expectations that we hold of him. So he will work intensively with his case manager on specific goals and milestones. He will also abide by all of the expectations we place onto him. So we believe that providing structure when returning home from incarceration is a really important piece of the puzzle. So there's curfew, it's substance-free housing. Specific to Mr. ALMS, he has already been assessed by Ms. Melissa from CADA Prevention and Recovery. So he is already in their system and will be receiving mental health treatment and substance abuse counseling. So when he comes home, he can be referred directly to Ms. Melissa if she's already met him. He also has a requirement to complete our life skills class, which is a 5-day class in the first week that he returns home. That will help him adjust to New Orleans, learn the bus route, how to create a budget and a grocery list. He will have help opening a bank account, He will take some financial literacy classes with us. We'll help him create a resume, apply for jobs, get him all of his needed I-9 documentation and public benefits. He also will participate in our weekly peer mentorship class called 9 Steps to Staying Free. It's a group entirely of formerly incarcerated people who are supporting each other through this transition period. So we have some folks who were away for decades and now have been home for a year and are doing really well. And then we have folks who would be like Mr. Alms, who have just come home and are looking to lean on those who have found the pathway of success. We believe that he would benefit greatly from this group. Mr. Alms has done an impressive amount of classes and programming while he's been incarcerated, and this is a very similar type of class. So once again, another form of structure and familiarity that would ease this transition. We are incredibly eager to welcome Mr. Alms home and support him through this transition. He has been wonderful to work with. He's very detail-oriented, motivated, respectful, and anything else that you all deem that he may need, First 72 will work to make it happen. So thank you so much for your time and consideration today.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Alms, your case was assigned to Mrs. Stapleton. She'll take the lead on the interview questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Mr. Alms. Your statement was very, very impressive. Well written, everything that you want it to be. Let me ask you something. You're only 47 years old, and you're a 6th class felony offender. And you said every 10 years or so, but it was really more often than that, and it's numerous states. You've been in a lot of different states and you've committed these crimes. And so I'm assuming all for the sake of being able to buy drugs, is that's what it was, or drug involvement?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I,
Got that because your criminal history is quite extensive.
yes, ma'am. I understand that my track record is not very impressive, but this is the first time in my life that I've actually wanted real change in my life. Before, I just wanted to avoid consequences. But at this point in my life, I'm ready, and I have taken steps to make actual change and become I am a different person.
Mhm.
I grew up in a home where my family were drug addicts. My mother is terminal now, and she's been clean for a while, but my father died an alcoholic death. So did my grandfather. So I come from a long line of addicts and alcoholics, but I have decided that I am not going to be one of those people anymore. And I have put many things in place to have a strong foundation, finally, for the first time in my life, to not be that person anymore. And I understand that, I've made a lot of mistakes and my behavior was not very productive. And I can only apologize for that. And I can only move forward and show you that I'm willing to make the change.
Ms. Lau, how long can they stay with y'all? You said that they can stay with you under, they abide by your rules, but how long are they able to stay with y'all rent-free so that they get back home? What is the length of time?
Yeah, so the program is 90 days, so 3 months. However, we do operate in a case-by-case basis. So if folks need extensions, for example, Mr. Alms gets here and he's really doing well, but we're struggling to find him affordable housing, then we would provide him an extension to save up some more money in that period.
Do you ever have cases where a person just can't find a place? I mean, because I know that the felony history to try and look for a job a lot of time is a holdup. Do you have jobs available that is not going to be a roadblock because he's got a felony?
So we have employer relations in the city of New Orleans with Fair Chance employers. Also, because we've been around for 10 years, people recognize the name First 72. So when going to job applications and submitting them, having First 72 on the application will likely have it pulled. In addition, his case manager will work with him to ensure that he is submitting enough job applications, preparing properly for job interviews, and then seeking employment and finding employment. If that does not happen in the 90 days, we will provide an extension. We have had numerous cases where folks have serious convictions, such as like a manslaughter charge, and that causes a bit of a harder time than something like Mr. Alms' case, and we work with them individually.
Okay, Mr. Holmes, I want to ask you, where does your mother and your daughter live at? You said you wanted to help care for them.
Yes, ma'am. My mother is currently in Texas, but my daughter lives in Araby near Chalmette with her mother, which, there's been some trust issues because of my behaviors, but being of all the work that I've done, she's willing to, open up the door for me to be back in my daughter's life and work on the trust issues. And so that opportunity has presented itself.
How old is your daughter?
She's 11, she'll be 12 this year. She has Down syndrome.
Okay.
She's nonverbal, she's wonderful though. She's really wonderful. She's my friend and I can't wait to be in her life.
So Ms. Alms, how do y'all reach out to say where his daughter lives at for a residence plan? Because you're in New Orleans. Do you have, he could want to go there so that he could be with his daughter and he doesn't have an opportunity for employment or a place to live.
Yes, so I did speak to Mr. Alms about the opportunity to live with family. That's one of the first questions I ask, is if they are in contact with family, why they're not pursuing living with them. Mr. Alms really expressed interest in our program because we do provide that support. While in the program, Mr. Alms can still connect with his daughter. We actually have a family reunification program in which we can help to mend relationships that may have faltered or broken due to incarceration. So he's still allowed to visit. He can actually go spend one overnight if he wishes to, as long as he clears it with myself, my team, and his parole officer. And he also can have his family come pick him up and take him out to lunch as long as he is back by curfew.
So y'all have AA meetings and NA meetings? Is that part of your program?
So we don't have it on site. We do have partnerships with CADA Prevention and Recovery, like I mentioned, that Mr. Alms has already been assessed by, which will provide him substance abuse counseling and mental health treatment, as well as Crescent Addiction and Recovery, which is right down the street from where our house is. So Mr. Alms has already talked about wanting to get a sponsor back and being in a lot of AA meetings. Having both of those resources very close by to our location is really helpful. But part of his requirement for being in our program is going to substance abuse counseling.
And for how long?
The 90 days that he's here, unless he is extended.
90 days. I'm going to turn it over to my colleagues, my fellow board members.
I don't have any.
Let me ask you something, Mr. Alms. You mentioned your old AA sponsor. So in the past, you were participating in the AA program and.
Yes, ma'am. I did my last conviction, I was put in drug court and I did AA throughout my drug court. And then when I completed drug court, I stayed sober through AA for a few years. And then I quit going to the AA and all those things.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. It seems as though when you quit going to AA is when you went back.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh.
Yes, ma'am. That's why I
Keep that in mind. So how long have you been sober now?
4 years. Since
That's the longest period of time since you've been in and out of jail. Is that the longest period of time you've been sober?
No, ma'am. Throughout drug court, I was in drug court for 3 years and then 2 years after that. So that was 5.
Okay. You mentioned that you learned to recognize, what caused your behavior, your acting out behavior through your therapy there. What was it? What did you figure out?
I had a lot of things happen to me in my past. I was sexually abused in Boy Scouts and stuff, and then having my parents were addicts, so it was socially acceptable then. And so I would start to feel sorry for myself, and anything that would happen, I would just numb, I would numb myself. I didn't know how to work through problems. I would just always go around them with the drugs. And, I found out how to get through the problems and find solutions rather than just avoiding them and being numb to everything.
Took you a long time to see that, didn't it?
Yes, ma'am. So, but at least I found it.
Right, okay. I don't have any other questions. I think we're prepared to vote. Yeah. Can we call an executive session?
I'll vote for it.
Please.
Okay.
Mr. Freeman will be voting first.
Okay, Mr. Holmes, I'll vote first because I was on your last hearing and you've done what we asked you to do. We asked you to go get the long-term treatment. The providers over there said you took it seriously, which I was glad to hear. I think the first 72 had a good program for you. So, my vote today is to grant with the condition you go to the first 72 for the 90-day program and do any recommended treatment that they advise.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Thank you.
I concur with Mr. Freeman.
And, Mr. Alms, I like what I've heard today. I like what I've heard from you, the folks there at the Steve Block program, and from Ms. Lowy. So my vote today also is to grant with the same special condition that Mr. Freeman outlined for you. Good luck to you.
Last shot, man.
Ma'am, thank you, yes, sir.
All right, that concludes our business in Bossier. We're signing off at 9:15. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
All right, good morning. We are the Committee on Parole is reconvening. It is 9:20 a.m. We're now at Allen Correctional Center on Wednesday, April 9th, 2025. Would the staff there at Allen please introduce yourself for the record?
Crystal Simon, Assistant Warden.
Jessica Manuel, classifications.
Civil Rider, ARDC Supervisor.
All right, thank you. Thanks for accommodating us this morning. And we have before us Mr. Richardson. Good morning.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Would you introduce yourself, sir? Tell us your name and VOC number.
Samuel Richardson, 388196.
All right, Mr. Richardson, my name's Cheryl Renanza. Mrs. Stapleton is seated to my left. Mr. Freeman is seated to my right. We're your parole panel today. Let me acknowledge the folks that are here with us at headquarters in Baton Rouge. Speaking on your behalf will be Keoki Lewis, Samuel Richardson, and DeJohn Richardson. Also present, Patrick. Is it Stephen? Seven. Patrick, 7, Carolyn, Natanya, Shadola, Katina, and Kiwiana. All are here in support, so all of our chairs are full. All right, let me just read some identifying information into the record, Mr. Richardson, and then we want to hear from you. We want to hear your statement first. Mr. Richardson, you're classified as a 4th felony offender. You're currently serving a 50-year sentence. You were sentenced to Jefferson Parish, selling, distributing, or possessing legend drugs. You received a 5-year sentence. As a habitual offender for possession with intent to distribute heroin, you received a 50-year sentence. You were sentenced on July 26, 2013. So your parole eligibility date was October 18, 2024. And your good time mandatory release date is April 23rd, 2061. Does all that sound right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Mr. Richardson, would you make your statement? Tell us, why you're in jail. What have you done since you've been in jail that would make you a good candidate for early release on parole?
Okay. Well, I'd like to thank for having this opportunity to stand before y'all today, and the state of Louisiana for providing me with this opportunity to stand before you today. And I understand the magnitude of my crime, and I'm here for possession with intent to distribute heroin. And I know the impact of my actions that I had on society, on my family, and on myself. And I got in all the classes that was available for me that were provided by Allen Correctional Centers, like Boys to Men, Man in the Mirror, Mars Compass, Oasis, so I can better myself and have a better outlook on myself and my actions, and understand that I was wrong for my actions, and take accountability of my actions. And note that I need some help. And I try to provide myself with the help that I needed by taking these classes and stepping up to the table and owning responsibility for my actions.
Thank you. Warden Simon, what can you tell us about Mr. Richardson?
I don't have a whole lot to say, Mr. Renanza. He is not a problem to the facility. He does keep himself busy and work. He doesn't give us any significant disciplinary issues or anything of that nature. So I have nothing negative to say about Mr. Richardson.
Okay, thank you. At this time, we'd like to hear from the folks here with us in the room that would like to speak on his behalf. First, could we hear from Mr. Samuel Richardson? Senior.
Good morning again.
Good morning.
This has been the worst time of my life. Losing the son, okay, and then turn around and lose my son that yeah. You don't know what it's like. Go through it. Take you. 73 years old. The Lord, God, see my son walk through my door. I don't know how long I have here. Nobody in here knows how long they have here. But today is the day that the Lord made. Nobody made it. He made it. I raised him from 13 years old. He's a good kid. He graduated from high school. He tried to make something out of himself. He went in the wrong direction. I talked to him days, months, weeks, years. Do the right thing. Worry. Okay? I told him, and this is something I told all my sons. If you get in trouble, okay, fighting, I'll be there for you. If you get in trouble for stealing, I'm not coming because you don't have to do it. If you get in trouble for selling drugs or doing stuff like that, I won't be there for you because you don't have to do it. The life I live, okay, speak for me. I worked all my life. Never sold drugs, I never stole, I never done anything that will put me in jail. Okay, I live a good life, and I'm still living a good life. Okay, I have 6 boys. Out of my 6 boys, okay, Samuel and my oldest son got in trouble. The rest of my sons are doing fine. My daughter is doing fine. All my kids are doing great. He been missed. He missed graduation. He missed weddings. He missed funerals. How long? That's the question. How long would you keep him bound like this? For what? For something he did? We all make mistakes. There's nobody in here closet is clean that you can go in and say, okay, I did this and I did that. How many got away with it? And how many got caught? Okay? There's a lot got away with it, and a lot got caught. But where's the big people who are bringing it? We see them chained and bound. We just focusing on one thing. It's the little people out here that's trying to make a hustle and trying to make a living. That's not right. Okay? Give people opportunities so they can live a long and decent life. We need opportunities for our children. Nobody wants to go through what I'm going through. The only reason why I'm standing here is because of the grace of God. The reason why he's still surviving, because what I teach him and what I tell him and how I talk to him and go see him, and always instill, God got you.
Yes,
We don't have you, but God got you. And just like he opened the cell for Solomon, he'll open them again. He dropped the chains once, he'll drop them again.
Yes, Mr. Richardson, can you wrap it up for us? We're on time limit today.
Okay, well, he sees everything and he knows. I hope your hearts are right today.
Thank you.
Okay? Because he will judge you. Just like he will judge me.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Keoki Lewis, please.
Family is one of my oldest companies. We grew up together, we're not that much different in age difference. That's my brother. He is the best person. I talked to him. We talked together, we cried together. He has 7 kids that he is closely knit with, that misses him. I miss him. I miss my brother. We are blood cousins, but that I consider that as my brother. Every step of the way. And if you can find it in your hearts to let him come home to us, because he is very, very missed.
And we now have Dejon Richardson, Samuel's son.
I don't got as much to say, but everybody must feel like, this is the time come home to the family. I'm the oldest son, and he missed a lot. He missed out on a lot of stuff, like football games, graduation, and me being in college. I feel like, when coming home, he'll have all of the right now. The time would be hard. It's hard without having a father. You know what I'm saying? I hope in y'all hearts that, I can let him out today. He's been doing good. He ain't been getting into trouble. Truly a changed man, like the way how he talk, the stuff that he's been doing. And then, thank y'all. I appreciate y'all.
Thanks for being here. All right, Samuel, your case been assigned to Mr. Freeman. Would you answer his questions, please?
Okay, Mr. Samuel, what kind of treatment have you done? Have you done any inpatient treatment since you've been incarcerated?
Well, I took pre-release, what the state provided, and living in balance. I took some self-help class, AANA, Boys to Men, Oasis. I took job training class with the truck driving CDL truck driving school to get familiar with the curriculum. And I try to absorb all the information I could absorb to better my situation and better my life, because I know that I can do better.
Okay. Are you an addict?
I'm an addict for selling drugs. I never used drugs to as a tool for to get high. I used to smoke marijuana back in high school, and then a little after high school, but I've kind of been let that go. Other than that, I use drugs just to support my income.
Got a lot of arrests for possessions. You sure you didn't use drugs?
I got a arrest for possession with the attempted strip of crack cocaine. I got possession for marijuana, and that's when I decided that I was going to try my best to stop using drugs. So I try to make an effort to stop using drugs, but I see that me being free and not having a real willpower to use drugs. So I was overwhelmed one day, and I asked God to come into my life. I asked God to step in, and maybe I need to go through something. Maybe I had to go through something to realize the impact that I had on my children and my own life. And I know that this is not a crime against a victim crime, but this crime caused a lot of hurt and pain to society. Society is a victim to this crime. My kids is a victim to this crime. And I see, I understand now. And to the self-help class like Boys to Men, and that's taking responsibility. So I'm moving in the right direction, and I'm owning up to my responsibilities. And I'm taking the first step is committing that I was wrong. I was wrong for choosing that lifestyle. My pops always preached to me. But
what is going to be your sobriety plan when you get out?
My sobriety plan, I want to keep in with the AANA and keep working on myself with my sobriety. I'm not going to give up on that because I'm free, but because I know I have a problem. And I know that my addiction for selling drugs, it was my problem. I had a problem with drugs. And I understand that. I see that.
Okay, well, I looked at your supervision history. You've been on probation or parole several times. You had one revocation. Warden, why is he a medium custody and his job performance was rated fair? That's a red flag for us. So why is that?
Freeman, I don't know, because he's an honor inmate here, and he works in our culinary arts, building, and I don't have any knowledge of him having a bad record. His last disciplinary was for a altered tablet back in October, which was, he was found guilty for that, but he doesn't have a bad record. I don't know.
That's a low court write-up, because if it had been a high court write-up, he wouldn't even be in front of us today.
It was low court. And
Okay, next is,
from 18.
yes, ma'am. What was the contraband you had in 2018?
Well, the contraband I had in 2018, I just found out my daughter had got shot. And I was dealing with the courts, and I had a lot on my mind, debt in the family, everything. And I took 2 leaves that I had in my own, that I got at the canteen, and my headache wouldn't go away. I was stressed. And guy said, man, I got some ibuprofen, maybe that can help you. You know, so I took the ibuprofen, and I don't know, because I took the ibuprofen on top of the lead, I was just mentally stressed. I had a mental breakdown. And I went to the blocks for acting erratically. And once I talked to the warden and explained to him that I took the ibuprofen on top of the leaves, he saw that I wasn't intoxicated, so he gave me a contraband charge. And that's how I got a contraband charge.
Okay. And you were a tier walker?
Yeah, I was a tier walker twice. The first time was by church, by selection. The second time was by church, because I saw something in that. I saw where I can reach out and help these guys, where I can be productive, help these dudes change their way of thinking and try to motivate them to do something with their mind, occupy their mind, and not run to the drugs or run to the things that'll get them in a block. So I became productive back there. So when I did it the first time, I signed up for it the second time on my own, and I did it twice.
Well, we appreciate that, because that's a very tough job to have. And we don't find a lot of people that want to do that. I have no further questions, Ms. Reynolds.
Ms. Stapleton. You mentioned, Mr. Richardson, that you're moving in the right direction and you finally admitted what you did was wrong. When did that revelation, when did that happen?
Well, 2015, I think back when the mojo and the fentanyl epidemic touched this facility. And by me being on tears with these guys, and I see that the impact and the hold that drugs had on them. And I saw myself in that situation on both sides of it, as dealing drugs and using drugs. And from that point on, I took a step towards making a change and realizing that it was time for to move on and trying to better my life and to take accountability for my actions.
Now, you mentioned that your family were victims and the state of Louisiana are victims. How many victims would you say? I would say everybody you sold the heroin or the drugs to were victims as well.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
How many victims do you think you got?
Too many.
Have you ever thought about it?
One was too many. I thought about that a lot. One was too many.
Have you ever taken victim awareness?
I never took victim awareness.
That's an important class that you should seek out if you can.
Okay.
So you were addicted to the money?
I was addicted to the lifestyle. Yes, ma'am. I was addicted to the lifestyle. Money.
All right, I don't have any other questions.
One thing is that Had a conversation yesterday with some people that deal with children that are drug addicts, became drug addicts from like ages 12 to 14. And one of the things that I wasn't aware of was the fact that they talked about marijuana being a gateway drug. They're really big on that. We don't hear too much as adults, but they're seeing it with the children. And so then when they talked about the other drugs, they talked about some of the kids that when they use like Mojo or something like that, and they get it, they become psychotic. And then from that point on, they have a mental illness breakdown. They never recover. So those people who distribute drugs, that could go into the hundreds and then lifelong. And I don't think, I mean, like you say, you just did it to supplement your income, but the long-term effects for people is not just they take a pill or they get high and they choose. Sometimes it's these children, young children, I'm finding out, and they never recover because they have a psychotic break or something like that, or it causes them to be a drug addict. I just want to mention that because the day will come that you will be out.
Wow.
And when you talk to people, you can tell them some of this stuff is going to children that really don't even understand what they're taking and they never recover. That's a good reason not to be. You want to use it yourself, that's on you. But a distributor is something else. That's a whole different classification. So that's all I have to say.
All right, I think we're prepared to vote. Mr. Green?
Okay, Mr. Richardson, you definitely 100% heading on the right track. I don't know if y'all saw the last hearing, but it was a guy that came up in front of us about a year ago. Our recommendation was to go to Steve Hall. He went, he did a great job, and we turned him loose today. So that's will be what I'm gonna try to do with you. I'm gonna recommend that we get you to a DOC approved treatment center.
Okay,
At least a 6-month program.
yes, ma'am.
And once that's complete, reapply. And if you do well in that class, I think your future looks very, very bright. You got great family support. You got everybody here. So take it seriously, okay? And I will make that recommendation to get you in there as soon as we can.
Okay, thank you.
Mrs. Stapleton?
I concur with Mr. Freeman.
So, I do agree. I think that program will be very beneficial to you. And, that, you know, we're going to deny your parole today, but we're going to make the recommendation that you be moved to the program. And it's up to you to reapply for another hearing after you complete the program. You understand?
Okay,
All right, sit on the front row.
Yeah, come
Learn
on,
everything you
just
can.
your chance, man.
okay,
All right.
All right.
Well, good luck to you.
thank you.
All right, good morning. Mr. Muse, would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and DOC number, please.
Good morning. My name is William Muse, number 502435.
Mr. Muse, my name is Cheryl Renatza. Ms. Stapleton is seated to my left, Mr. Freeman's to my right. Let me read some identifying information into the record. And let me just acknowledge that by Zoom, we also have your mother, Ms. Maybelline Muse, and she's going to speak on your behalf in just a few minutes. You are classified as a third felony offender. You're currently serving a 20-year sentence. As a habitual offender, you were sentenced in Union Parish in July of 2019 for distribution of marijuana. You received a 20-year sentence, and distribution of cocaine, you received a 20-year sentence. Those are running concurrently, so it's a total of 20 years. You have parole eligibility date, July 2021. Your good time release date is April 28, 2036. Is that information correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So you had a hearing back in 2023, is that right?
I had one in 2022, I believe, in January. In 23, I believe I applied for a rehearing and it was denied because I needed my score and additional programming.
Right, that's what I had, and that hearing was denied because you had no additional programs, and you didn't really have a good transition plan, I think, at the time that was considered. So tell us, what have you done since then? How have you for today since then?
Right, since 2023, I have had a job assignment as a canteen orderly. Then I received a professional offender job classification as inmate counsel. I was enrolled in pre-release programming this year. I have completed over 50 hours. I'm scheduled to complete it on or around April 21st of this month. I've been enrolled in Living in Balance. I've completed phase 1. I'm scheduled to start phase 2 on Saturday. I should complete phase 2 on or before June 7th of this year. I've attended court and completed construction site safety orientation. And while I was housed at Elaine Hunt's, I completed a couple of classes dealing with alumni as far as self-help education, dealing with spirituality, addiction, and anger and aggression. And I've achieved a low-risk assessment score.
Did you say you are an inmate counsel?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. How long have you held that position?
For 7 months.
And you've been there at Allen about a year and a half, almost?
Yes, ma'am, since December 18, 2023.
So, I'm gonna tell you, I look at your history and your record, and it's concerning to me. I see dating back to 2004, there was a domestic violence. 2005, the unauthorized use of illegal weapons. 2006, drug distribution, another domestic violence in 2011. 2012, interfering with police, possession of Schedule 1. That was dismissed. There was another simple assault on a police officer, 2013. 2015, possession again with intent to distribute. Some of those were dismissed, but there were arrests made in those cases, which is where there's smoke, there's fire in my mind. So tell me about, you say you're enrolled in Living in Balance now? Are you done number 1, the first Living in Balance 1, you finished or have?
Yes, ma'am. I've completed phase 1 and I begin phase 2 on this Saturday.
What did you get out of that so far?
Out of phase 1. So phase 1, I learned about addiction, which I learned the definition that is defined as a fatal and progressive disease of attitudes, personality, and behaviors with a general negative outlook on life, rooted in fears, insecurities, and low self-esteem. So I learned that those were the things that I was going through while I was on the street, and that I was addicted to drugs. And by my failing to commit to the recovery process and my prior releases, it resulted in me being reincarcerated and becoming a habitual offender. So the programming that I'm receiving is basically putting me in the mindset and capability to learn that I have to be committed to being sober in order to be successful in anything that I do. And those are things that I didn't commit to when I was on the street. So that resulted in me being in the positions that I am now.
You said you're an addict. Is that what you said to me just now? Did you?
Ma'am.
Why did it take you so long to figure that out?
Oh, because I was explaining what I learned through the program.
Why did it take you so long to figure out that you are an addict? Did you just learn that in that program?
No, ma'am, I didn't just learn it. I didn't want to admit to it. So I was living in denial. And through my denial of thinking that I'm not an addict, that was the cause of a lot of bad decisions. So poor decision making was the result of my drug addiction problem. And through the programming that I'm getting, and I'm being by my age and being more mature and open to listening and other people's opinions, I'm learning that my drug addiction was the main problem that I had on the street.
I would agree. What about the domestic abuse incidents? Have you taken management or any classes to help address that type of behavior?
Right, yes, ma'am. So the courses that I was going to while I was at Hunts dealing with the anger management taught me how to that anger is an emotion that needs to be controlled, and that specific to those incidents, I recall those incidents and I pled guilty to those incidents because I was in fact guilty. I just lost my temper, lost control, and that's what it was. And I mean,
So I saw only two, or I saw at least two. Was that the same victim? They were several years apart. Was it the same victim in each of those cases?
I believe the victim 1 was a family member, and victim 2 was a living girlfriend.
All right. So, given your history and your history of revocation, tell us why you think you're a good candidate for early release.
So I believe that I'm suitable for release because I have successfully participated in the programming and treatment. I realized that my failure to commit to the recovery process was the leading cause of me being a recidivist, and that I'm making the steps toward being successful. I have a positive employment plan and parole plan in place. My parents have sent verification letters saying while I'll be working that I have a legitimate income, and that I mean I accept responsibility for my actions. I should have been more proactive in the recovery process than I was when I was on the street. I'm committing myself to gaining the spirituality that I need to keep myself motivated and keep being productive while I'm incarcerated. And I'm just going to continue doing it while I'm on the street.
All right, well, let's hear from Gordon. Tell us about Mr. Muse.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Muse is an inmate counsel here at the facility, and he has been for about 6 to 7 months. He does a good job there. He doesn't have any disciplinary. He can do his time very well while incarcerated. Does he need more tools for his toolbox to be successful on the outside? Yes, I do believe so. So any additional programming or any extra tools that he can get to be successful, I think he should take advantage of.
Thank you. We appreciate that. We'd like to hear from William's mother, Miss Madeline.
Oh, can you hear me?
And we can.
Okay. Okay, I'm Maybelline and Muse, and I'm William's mother. I appreciate you all allowing me this opportunity to speak. I sincerely think that at this time, William understands how important it is to having a good quality of life. And I think he understands that being incarcerated and doing the things that he did to get, incarcerated affected him having a good quality of life. And I think that he don't desire to do those things anymore. And I think he has improved and has a genuine desire to make better choices from what I'm listening to him and over the period of time that he's been incarcerated, and we have been talking over the phone and so forth. And I think he understands and he's willing to, as what we call, earn a honest living, and that having a higher value on what he will and will not do when he's out as a man. I think that he will value himself more and his family and certainly his freedom and become a more productive person in society. And because being incarcerated, it has an effect on his life. A life of crime is not a good life. And that's not the way, he understands that's not the way he was taught and brought up. But we all make choices, and choices have consequences. And he has missed out on many things in life. And he missed out on family gatherings with his siblings and family reunions and, other gatherings around holidays and other events and so forth. So I just feels like he's ready to be more involved in family and in society as a whole. And when he get out, I have a company. I work in housing, and I think that as he get out and he works with me and help me in the yard and work, and then helping me with the business, which I hope maybe one day that he will take over and pursue, and so forth. And that would help him. And because I think that having an understanding how housing is a good thing to have. And I think as he get more involved in the business, he will understand about how that can make other people's lives better. And that when he put forth the effort to pool all together the resources that, I'm like I do and so forth, then he can understand how it benefits other people and society as a whole. Because when you're working with housing, then you're working with different people like electricians, handymans, and yardmans, and plumbers, and locksmiths. All these things affect other people's lives, make their lives better. So he will become a more productive person in society, because when he contributes, then that leads to positive changes, not only in his life, but the lives of others. So I just feel like if y'all give him that opportunity, then I know that me and his family would work with him and being a good support. And we have, I attend a church where we have, that's centered around, they have a program that's centered around helping young men in their daily lives and becoming more productive in society as well. So I feel like the only number William would be willing and proudly to write behind his name would be his phone number when he's looking for a job or when he's, helping someone and so forth like that, or participating in the business and stuff like that. I think that he's ready to make some changes in his life. And we're here to help him in any way that we can. And we love him, and we'll do the best we can to be a support for him.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for your words. And I think you have wise counsel for him. William, what do you think you need to be successful?
I need to stay committed to the recovery process. I've maintained my sobriety since I've been incarcerated. I want to continue that. So I know that I'm gonna have to keep on in attending self-help groups, stay around positive people, let go of my past associates. That was a big thing with my problem with coming back on those arrests, was going back to the same people and places that I used to hang around. I know that, when I was younger, I just didn't develop the mindset to say, William, you had the confidence to be a positive influencing person. You don't have to be around those people. I chose my lack of confidence and wanted to be accepted by people that were engaged in the type of behaviors that I thought were cool or whatnot. That caused me to lower my standards, and basically it caused a disgrace on myself and my family. So recognizing that I want to make amends and start helping people by being somebody that speak at a church gathering or going out to a self-help group and talking about what I went through during my incarceration and how I learned how to be a person that can be productive, and that using drugs is detrimental to myself, and not only myself, but the community as a whole, because it takes away from children being fully developed. It's a bad influence and effect on a lot of people's life. So I know that through that now that there's negative impact on, just because of my one action leads to a lot of other actions based on my one bad decision. So
all right. I'm sure we told you or you were told at your last hearing, about the opposition that's out there by law enforcement. Strong opposition from the Union Parish Sheriff's Office. You can imagine why, because of all the victims that you just mentioned. Also opposition from the District Attorney's Office, I'm sure for the same reasons. I like what you're saying. I do agree with Warden Simon, though. I think that you just started on the path of recognizing what it is that you need. I think you could benefit from some more tools to help you ensure that you're going to be successful and go work with your mom and do the things that she'd like to see you do. So I don't think today's the day for you just yet. I would recommend programs like Thinking for Change, a little more substance abuse program. I know you say you're starting on Saturday, Living in Balance 2. And then there's another program that you're going to finish in the early summer. I want to be sure that you get those programs. I don't know if you mentioned anger management. I think you said you did it at Hunt, but I would recommend maybe trying to see if you could get that program as well, even if it's a redo of it. But I'm not there yet today. So I'm going to go ahead and vote if it's okay with my colleagues. My vote is going to be to deny your parole, and I'm going to make a note that I have suggested those programs. And once you've completed them, I'd like to see you reapply for another hearing. I think you'll be better prepared at that point. I know you think you are, but I think there's some more opportunities that they can give you there that's going to just really equip you well and better. Mrs. Stapleton?
And I concur with Ms. Renata for the same reasons.
Mr. Freeman?
I also concur.
All right, Mr. Muse, Now you go apply yourself, make your mother proud and reapply, and hopefully at that point you'll get to go help her in her business. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
Warren Simon, that concludes our business. We're gonna adjourn. It's 10:09. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, keep working, keep taking classes. Don't give up.